I would like to show you another game from this nice book, because there is a collection of like 40 games by Anand. I think the book was written before Anand became world champion. Why I say that? Because in the bottom, in the last cover, it's written that Anand lost to Kasparov, and so he didn't become world champion, but it was a tough fight. In reality, Anand lost also against Karpov in a quarter-final, because evidently different players mature and become stronger at different times. Everybody needs time to grow. So Anand, I think, won in reality after the match against Kramnik and took the crown from Kramnik. And then, of course, he lost the World Championship against Carlsen, but Carlsen is even worse than Kasparov in a sense, as the greatest player of all time, right? Generally, when they make this kind of discussion, they say Fischer, Karpov, Kasparov, Carlsen. No? They have this kind of discussions online. I honestly don't care. I want to enjoy the games by Anand because I think he's a great player, and we should all benefit from watching his games. Okay? And of course, you know guys, many people, many players never became world champion. So to become world champion, it's clearly a kind of a lot of puzzle pieces falling into place at the same time. It's not so easy, and so I cannot even imagine. But I think Anand is the one who created this chess boom in India, and now there is another world champion that is Indian, Mr. Gukesh, and so clearly he is someone who opened chess to India, and so that's why it's very important, right? Also, if maybe he didn't beat Kasparov when Kasparov was in his prime, okay? Again, I think every world champion gives something to the world, and in this case Anand has created more grandmasters than any other champion, and so that's why we must also watch his game and thank him for his contribution to the world, because it's really great that India has all these grandmasters and that they come to play. And this is why I play chess, because I want everybody to be involved in chess, nobody to be excluded, nobody to have favoritism, nepotism or anything like that, because that's the beauty of chess. We are all the same over the board, right? So I would like to show you the last game of the book, but of course, if I have requests, I can show you also other games from this wonderful book. It's game 40. Anand is white and is playing against Lautier in Biel 1997. The beauty of the book is the fact that there are many anecdotes, and so only Anand could write them, and so that's why it's worth to have this book. Apart that I paid it $3.99, so I mean, what do you want more than this? Chess wisdom and $4. I mean, it's great, right? So at the opening ceremony the previous day, the chess players had to play a match against representative from the Swiss Skiing Federation. Each participant from the A and B tournament had to play 2 moves, and if they didn't mate the skiers within 24 moves, then the skiers won. The chess player chose the Scandinavian. To my great surprise, this is exactly what happened in my 4th round game. Now, Anand is like Fischer playing e4, the best by test. Joel Lautier played d5, and here is Anand writes, I don't recall Joel ever having played this before, but he hadn't competed at all since Monaco in April. So I assume this was an opening he had prepared during the intervening 3 months. E takes d5, queen takes d5, knight c3, queen a5. I think there is another French grandmaster that plays this queen a5 quite often. d4, knight f6, knight f3, and c6. This move, guys, here there are no annotation, but this move is generally very important. Why? Because it takes 2 squares away. In the Scandinavian there is this fight for d5 that black must not lose, and then another advantage of this move is that it gives this queen a way to escape back if needed. Okay, so here white played bishop c4. Anand writes knight e5 is more popular, and that's a great move, honestly, that I think I had in a game against a grandmaster. Okay, here it says nowadays knight e5 is more popular, but during my preparations for the World Championship I noticed the lines with bishop c4 were very dangerous for black to navigate. Knowing that Joel didn't have a great deal of experience with the Scandinavian, I decided to test him in this critical variation. So guys, remember, this is 1997, maybe the internet didn't explode like now that you have every possibility to play 24 hours a day, and try your openings against everything, right? So Lautier played bishop f5, knight e5, attacking here, right? e6, and now there is a beautiful move for white because it's really strong. g4, bishop g6, and h4, and I think I have played something like this in a match game against another club player, and it was terrible. Luckily he made a mistake at a certain point, and I was able to win the game, but this for me it's really a horrible situation for black. And here there is knight b d7. This is the best line, he says. Okay. Knight takes d7, knight takes d7, h5. Very beautiful. Bishop e4, because this is a pin. Very good. Yeah. Rook h3, and here there is a beautiful move by black. Very interesting. He plays bishop g2. And here he writes a nice finesse. If white plays rook g3, then black will gain a tempo with a later bishop d6. However, if the game continuation is correct, then black will have to abandon his finesse and play bishop d5 instead of bishop g2. Okay. And here he gives a continuation from a game in which white was able to win a pawn. So he played here another move that wasn't rook g3. He says that he wanted to play rook g3, which gave white a slight edge despite the fact that black can play bishop d6. But a fresh look at the position during a game can often turn up better moves than those found during home preparation. So this is interesting. So he was prepared to play rook g3 because he studied this at home, but instead he found this, rook e3. And as you can see, this is why we want to read a book, right, written by Anand, because he can tell us what his thought process was. So this is why it's really great, this book. Knight b6, attacking this, and bishop d3. This move, which I found at the board, was the reason I decided to go for rook e3 instead of rook g3. He says that bishop b3 is inferior because he allows black to play c5. So at this point black played knight d5. Here he says this is the obvious reply, attacking c3 and e3. But here there is a beautiful move by white, and I don't know if you will be able to find it. By the way, I think I remember now the name of the grandmaster that plays the Scandinavia, French grandmaster, and that probably plays queen a5. I think it's Christian Bauer, right? That's the name. Okay, the move is f3. That's incredible, right? f3. This remarkably calm move is the point behind white's play. He is willing to jettison a few pawns and or the exchange in order to snare the bishop on g2. When the bishop is finally trapped, black will probably end up with a rook and two pawns for two minor pieces. Owing to the lack of open files, the minor pieces will be very much more at home in the resulting position than the rooks. And this, coupled with white's lead in development, will almost inevitably give him a clear advantage. So here, after f3, black played bishop b4, but he gave us the line with knight takes e3 and the line with knight takes e3. I'm honestly curious of knight takes e3 because it's an exchange, and so it seems a big advantage for black, right? Queen b6, attacking this and this, yes. King f2, bishop h3, and rook b1. And here he says a position of a type mentioned above is reached. White holds the advantage in both cases. Okay. Let's see the other line that he gave for knight takes c3. I'm just curious, okay? So let's see for a moment. I think the position was this, and the knight was here, the queen was here, and the other rook was here. I think this should be the position. Let's see, okay? So I was curious, after f3, if not this, let's see what happens with this, okay? knight takes c3, b takes c3, queen takes c3, check, bishop d2, and bishop takes d4, sorry, queen takes d4, king f2, and here there is bishop takes f3. And white continue with this move. So here we have 3, 6, 9, 10, 3, 6, 9, 10. So material is equal, but I think you must also consider this position by this pawn structure. For example, white has a kind of bad pawn structure, yet he has the bishop pair, which is good, and this can come out, but black is at least a little behind, but this is a temporary advantage. Yet the pieces are pointing at a possible castling on that side, so I don't know if it's really good, right? Because that's also another possibility, that white has an attack on the king side. As you can see, the Scandinavian is kind of solid, but is also passive, because black is playing without these rooks, and these rooks, where do they go in order to come out? So often, guys, you need to try to have a kind of positional idea. So I don't know, I think that position probably one must play it against a computer a few times and see if it is the position he likes or not, okay? So that's the important thing. So let me see if I put everything in the right place, because if I make a mistake then the video is damaged. I think I put everything in the right place. So there was f3, and we saw what happens after knight takes c3, knight takes c3. And now there is bishop b4, that is the move that black actually played. And here, thank God, there is a diagram, so I can check if everything is correct. Now, this move, bishop b4, is good in my opinion, because allows black to nearly castle, right, and finish the development. But here white played king f2. Wow. Black continue with bishop takes c3, b takes c3, queen takes c3, rook b1, obviously, otherwise he loses the rook, and queen takes d4. So at this point I think it's clear that black has a kind of material advantage, right? Because 3, 6, 9, 3, 6, 7, so black has 2 pawns as advantage. Okay, so what is now that white is going to do? Rook takes b7, and here there is an analysis of what black could play. For example, bishop h3, but yeah, he says that black saw a little farther than him, and there is a lot of analysis. This is a critical position, okay? However, Black continue with rook d8, and here he says the following. Let's see. He says, after the text move, I saw the possibility of bishop g6. But then I realized it didn't work immediately because black could run with his king. Okay. Because after bishop g6, he has rook takes d1, rook takes e6, wow, king f8, bishop f3, wow. Okay, so I guess this is a line that we want to see. But bishop g6, it seems, is not correct. So guys, if you want to waste at least a couple of minutes, I would pause the video here and you think what you would play as white. Now let's see why bishop g6 is not working. Because after queen takes d1, there is rook takes e6, king f8, bishop a3 check, knight e7, bishop takes e7, right? And then there is king g8, and the attack fails. Then I saw the possibility of inserting h6 at the start of a combination, when a later king g8 could be met by rook g7 check. I don't understand how rook g7 check, okay. Suddenly all that remained was to check the details. Okay, let's see what are the details. So let's go back. It was this, king here, the knight here, the other here. Okay, so let's see if this is correct. Yeah, the rook is here, and that's a powerful rook, right? Because he starts to attack on the 7. Okay, I think I put everything correctly back in place. So let's see what happens. He plays h6. G takes h6. It's a mistake. This gave me a chance for a really beautiful finish. Black could still fight on with knight takes e3, but Joel hadn't seen the idea behind h6, and here there is an analysis that ends up in a mate. So let's see what he plays. Or please guys, try to pause the video again. I continue to tell you because I want you guys to improve. And improvement doesn't mean that you find the right move. Improvement means that you did the exercise, which is more important than finding the right move. So in this case, white played bishop g6. And of course here he says there is no way out. He played knight e7, queen takes d4, rook takes d4, rook d3, rook d8, rook takes d8, king takes d8, and now there is the last move of the game, that is bishop d3. Why after this move Lautier resigned? Because after bishop h1 bishop b2, rook e8, there is bishop f6, and black will soon be in zugzwang and have to surrender at least a piece. And here there is a final note that says 1996 and 1997 have been extremely successful years for me. I've not only had good and consistent results, but have also produced a lot of beautiful games. I'm enjoying myself immensely playing chess and hope that my current form augurs well for a renewed attempt at gaining the title of World Champion. So this is the last move of this book, but by the way, I don't know if you can see, it was new. I paid it only $4, but it was never read. That's the funny thing, right? And I think, as you can see, Anand plays really well, a combinative player like Tal, with the difference that his sacrifices are kind of correct. So we can definitely learn a lot from him. So here, Vishy Anand, my best game of chess. Please try to find the book because it's very cheap, as you can see, and read all the games because you will enjoy them immensely. Thank you very much for watching.